And Doobie here. What's the play for today? Well, today I've got a little bit of a gift wrap emergency. And that is, I've run out of Scotch tape. And so to wrap these gifts, I'm going to do something else instead of using tape. I'm actually going to sew it in. But I found that if I use, say, regular wrapping paper, it's just too thin to sew with and actually not have it rip and transport and that kind of stuff. So what I want is a heavier paper. And I'm going to take a plain piece of paper, I'm going to gel print, I'm going to make my own wrapping, and then I'm going to sew it up into a gift. That pristine white paper that I've got down there, yep, that's the stuff I'm going to turn into gift wrap. I'm going to use this 8x10 gel press plate here, and I'm going to get some random bits of color and pattern on there. The first stencil that I'm using here, this one's called Diamond Waves, and it's one that I created for over at StencilGirlProducts.com. And you might have also noticed that I didn't use the whole thing. I'm not going to use the whole thing for this one either, just some of it. And you might be able to tell that I'm not doing a lot of careful thinking here. This is really just a slap it and go. I'm trying to just get a whole bunch of different pinks all over this paper. And I do want to get a lot of stuff everywhere because I want to cover this whole thing in. I'll even clean off my stencil there by just brayering off any excess paint. Slapping little bits of ghosts on there, whatever I can get. Whenever I'm working with words or letters, they go on the gel plate backwards. And I'm going to get a whole bunch of paint on the back of the stencil, and yep, I'm going to clean that off right on this paper. It's a win-win because I get the paint off of the stencil, and I get some more color and pattern onto this paper. I keep saying paper, and I haven't explained exactly what it is. And this happens to be mixed media paper, and it's 18x24. It's a 98-pound paper. It's basically paper that can take some paint. It's a little bit sturdier. I'll have the link down below for you. And this stuff comes on that 18x24 pad. And these are big pieces that I use to cover up my countertop when I'm filming for you because I have a glass countertop, and that creates a lot of glare. And so rather than deal with that, I keep paper on there. But that paper is also perfect for something like this because it's a little bit thicker of a paper. So let's say you don't have a big pad of mixed media paper around. What can you use instead? A great substitution are paper shopping bags. Either the paper brown ones that you get from grocery stores, or even the shopping bags with handles that you get from department stores or other stores like that. Those are a nice weight of paper so that when you're sewing this into a gift, it's not going to just rip apart really easily. If I'd use a thin paper like a copy paper kind of thing, the reason I say that it would rip apart easily is because I've got to put this in a box and ship it. This happens to be a Christmas gift that I need to get out. And what I found is if you use a thin paper, they just kind of rip and tear and do it not in a way that you really want it to, not before they're ready to open their gift, but kind of in packing and shipping. So that's why I like to use a heavier weight paper. That said, if you happen to be doing something that doesn't involve shipping, you probably could do this with a thinner paper. So I encourage you to use whatever you've got available for whatever fits your needs. And once I've got this whole thing covered in with color and pattern, then I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to be using this for 2 gifts. So what I'm going to do is just fold this in half so I can find about the middle of it here. And then I'm simply going to cut it into 2 pieces. That's simply because it makes it a little bit easier for me to manage, and I know that these are about the sizes that I need. I didn't cut with a lot of precision here, just like I didn't gel print with a lot of precision, because it's not going to be needed, so if the precision doesn't really matter, I'm not going to spend the time on it. I chose this size for it because I want the gift to easily fit in the center, because I'm going to have to sew around this and I don't want to actually sew through the gift. Next comes the sewing. I'm going to sew along 3 of the sides and leave one side open. Now on this side it's closing it. When I turn it, that'll close up that side. But along the fold, that is a completely optional stitching kind of thing. I like the look of having stitching around all 4 sides, so I will stitch it along even the folded side just because I really like the look. And since it's something that isn't structurally needed to seal up the gift, it is absolutely your choice whether that's something that you want to put on there or not. Now that I've got 3 sides of it sewn closed, I've got one side open, and that's where I'm going to slide the gift in. Now this is definitely larger than what it has to be for this Christmas ornament, but that's because I still have to sew up one flap. And I want to make sure that I can definitely get that ornament way down there and away from where I'm going to sew, because I don't want to sew into it. One, it's probably not great for the machine, but two, it kind of defeats the purpose of giving him a gift if you sew it into the package. And yes, I have learned this the hard way, so I'm very generous with how much space I leave myself for sewing around something. Because I left myself plenty of room for the sewing, that means I've got a little bit of excess around the edges. So a pair of scissors trims it all up very nicely, and it looks like I was actually careful in my planning for where exactly I was going to sew, when you know the truth of I just left myself enough room I didn't have to worry about it. And the finishing touches are putting some ribbon around it and a little gift tag. And this is where those scraps that have been cut off, those remnants, are extremely handy because they make a great, quick little gift tag to put on top of that little hole punch, pull it through the ribbon, and it's tied right on there, and this is ready to give. Well, thanks for joining me for today's play. If you've been enjoying this video, I'd so appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, hit that subscribe button. That way you'll know as soon as I've got a new one out. And just a little public service announcement for you here. When you buy a pretty ribbon that has this textured edging on it, just beware, it's a little bit more cumbersome to use and, well, let's just say it's a lot prettier than it is practical. And if you're looking for more ways to use your gel prints, I've got an entire playlist of them over on YouTube, so check them all out. Thanks so much for letting me be a part of your colorful journey.